This talk is called Blissful with a question mark. Um, it's about joyous states that we maybe experience in our practice and maybe how to deal with them in context, let's say. Okay. So in Zen practice, we often speak or focus on awakening or enlightenment. And in doing so, we can sometimes overlook an important aspect of the path, the intimacy and tenderness at the heart of Zen. At the heart of Zen practice is the belief that we are all basically good, and that within each of us, there is a spark of enlightenment waiting to be ignited. This idea of basic goodness is a source of great tenderness and compassion. And it is this tenderness and compassion that allows for a deepened relationship and intimacy in our practice and lives. In Zen, being in the moment is considered to be the ultimate experience of reality. It is a state in which our thoughts and attachments are let go, and we are fully present in the present moment. In this state, we are able to open ourselves to the beauty and mystery of life. The beauty of being in the moment is that it allows us to see the world with fresh, open eyes, a beginner's mind. The ordinary becomes engaging, and we can perceive the interconnectedness and impermanence of all things. In writing this talk, I realize I am attached to the occasional blissful states achieved in Zazen. Purity and peace are at the heart of our practice. If we let our thoughts go, there is tenderness right on the other side of this moment. Peace and stillness are in the cadence of our breath. If we can pause our thoughts, we can integrate with our environment, become one with the wind, warmth, light, humidity, and touch, and enjoy the exhilaration that occurs when our breath meets this moment. If we can develop maturity in our practice, equanimity will be revealed, and we can carry this connection to bliss into the world. These moments are just that, moments. These encounters are fleeting, and trying to hold on to or seek them is foolish. I do not sit Zazen to encounter these experiences. I sit Zazen to sit Zazen. But occasionally I will encounter what I would call blissful states, maybe samadhi. I postulate that this is the sweet nectar at the heart of the lotus. It is easy to become attached to or desirous of these transcendent experiences. But that bliss is a delusion, too. It is not anything that should be sought or attained. This is just a pleasant distraction on the path to emptiness. It is a necessary tool to keep us on the path. I would advise practitioners not to be attached to the shiny trinkets in their minds. Let it go and come back to the breath. Smell the flowers and move on. Do not hold on to this sensation. This is just a waypoint on the journey. Dogen once said, suchness is the joy of joy, and joy is suchness. Dogen believed that suchness, or the essence of things as they are, contains a deep, unchanging joy. In Buddhism, suchness refers to the essence of things as they truly are, without any attachment or preconceptions we may have about them. This suchness can be experienced through Zazen, where we strip away our thoughts, emotions, and opinions and sit with the present moment just as it is. Suzuki Roshi said, moment after moment, everyone comes out from nothingness. This is the true joy of life. I really love that quote. In Buddhism, bliss is often used to describe a deep peace, contentment, and happiness that comes from letting go of our attachments and preconceptions and experiencing things as they truly are. On the other hand, equanimity is the ability to remain tranquil and undisturbed in any situation, not getting caught up in the ups and downs of life. The combination of bliss and equanimity is a powerful one in Buddhist practice. Bliss is the experience of peace and contentment that comes from letting go to our attachments, while equanimity is the ability to remain undisturbed by external events. As our true nature is revealed through the diligence of practice, equanimity blossoms within us so we can accept the profound joy nestled within. Meditation is not a way to enlightenment, nor is it a method of achieving anything at all. It is peace itself. It is the actualization of wisdom, the ultimate truth of the oneness of all things. And that's another quote from Dogen. The tenderness and joy from Zazen are revealed through the diligence of practice. The experience of bliss is always present, waiting to be discovered. The Heart Sutra says that far beyond every inverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In this talk, I am writing about stripping away to discover this place of emptiness, tenderness, and joy. The irony is that we realize our views are inverted and our perspective diluted, even though nothing was ever lacking. What Zazen exposes is a core foundation of enlightenment nestled within this tenderness. Our small mind's purview is such that we cannot access this realm. We access constructs, skandhas, through the mind and language. It seems natural to think that if I stripped away thoughts and language, I could arrive at this place of emptiness, not realizing that I have always been there. This was my foundation before I was born, after I was born, and at this very moment. It seems logical to project that this is where I will return to after death. Mel Weissman wrote in his book, Seeing One Thing Through the Zen Life and Teaching of Sojun Mel Weissman, he said, enlightenment is the beginning of our practice. Enlightenment is what motivates us toward practice. The fact that you want to practice means that the enlightenment that is always with you needs to somehow be expressed. It is usual to think that we enter practice in order to get enlightened, but enlightenment is actually driving our practice. What we are all looking for is what we already have in abundance, but we don't know that until we wake up to it. Practice brings forth enlightenment, and enlightenment creates practice. Practice is the basis. Enlightenment is its expression and extends everywhere. It's not confined to a certain place or activity. This is it. From nothing comes everything, but we see the ox's tail before envisioning the ox. A glimpse of emptiness in Zazen is the realization of Buddha's mind. It is the key to the lexicon of enlightenment, which transcends language norms. Schneider Roshi said that. That's a quote. It is the thought that keeps us from revealing our self nature in the stillness of Zen. Oh, sorry. Let me reread this last sentence because I bungled this. So, from nothing comes everything, but we need to see the ox's tail before envisioning the ox. A glimpse of emptiness in Zazen is the realization of Buddha's mind. It is the key to the lexicon of enlightenment, which transcends language, norms. Peter Schneider Roshi said, "It is thought that keeps us from revealing our self nature. In the stillness of Zazen, we may encounter emptiness, and the true Dharma is revealed. This is intimacy at the heart of practice. Through Zazen, we stand naked without our thoughts and become open to assimilate the Dharma more than we can articulate it." That's all I got. So anyway, that was a lot. So we can unpack. Anybody have any questions?
Rachel?
Rachel?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks a lot, Spencer. All I wanted to say was thanks. You really did express very succinctly and carefully the truth that I think is in practice. And I just want to say, I've sat a long time. I have never had fireworks. I've never even had a sparkler. And so if that were not the truth, how upon how truly empty my practice would be. Thank you a lot.
Mike? Mike?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you for your talk. I really can't add anything to that. It shows me though that how fleeting our awareness of suchness is, in the sense that we will never be able to maintain it 24 hours a day. That it's something we have to constantly work at, and enlightenment isn't really the goal, since we already have it. It's just rediscovering it again. And I like that part about your talk. And it's amazing. Zen is so obvious and so simple, but so difficult to do. So thank you very much for your talk.
Thank you. Jane? I think you need to unmute, Peter.
Okay, go, Jane.
Thank you, Spencer, for your talk. It was really very interesting. I especially like the way you described bliss as a tender, pervading kind of experience rather than this impactful thing coming into your life, but it tiptoes in.
Yeah. Yeah, I started thinking about it because I have these experiences when I sit, and started sitting maybe to have them. And I said, this is ridiculous. Like I would sit and say, oh, how come I'm not experiencing this or that? And let that go. But then when you do experience it, let that go too. That's really the learning here, you know. And, you know, Zazen is just like coming home. That's all it is, you know. And I think it's really nice to be one with everything, but that's really not the goal. There's nothing to attain. And, you know, everything, including the bliss, including, you know, the pain, it's all the same. And we just need to let it all go.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, Spencer. It was an excellent talk.
Thank you.
Mark?
Come over and ask him
Yes.
something?
Yep.
Here comes Mark with a question for you.
I thought Mark was going to be like in New Mexico. What is it?
This is New California. I'm decided to be in. That was an amazing talk. I felt it just really almost, it was too good in some ways. It was just so, it just moved so well and everything. There were a lot of different thoughts in it. I was really curious about the point where you had a little problem with what Roshi Peter said and the oxtail and everything. I'm still kind of a little dazzled by all the different imagery in that. So maybe can you clarify that for me?
I think, you know, let me actually read the statement so I don't comment incorrectly. So, you know, the first thing I said, from nothing comes everything. And, you know, I basically see this as the beginning of the ox herding pictures, you know, and because there's nothing at the beginning. And if we don't catch that glimpse, we don't sit again, right? Or you never sit, right? So that comes from nothing. Once you have that, once you get that glimpse, it's really what, you know, Mel's talking about when he says enlightenment is what motivates us toward practice. So that glimpse of the ox's tail pushes us forward. So I'm also commenting that, you know, it's not the shiny bells and whistles or whatever bliss or is occurring or you believe is occurring in your mind. You know, it's not any of that, right? And don't become attached to it. It's actually part of the journey. And I believe if you get attached to it, your practice might be stagnated right there, you know, because you're not moving toward emptiness. You've stayed at some construction of the mind. You know, so the ox herding pictures are a good roadmap laying out the chronology toward emptiness. But if you never have that first encounter, you don't sit. Maybe if you don't have those joyful, blissful encounters, maybe you don't stay sitting. That's sort of what I'm leading to.
Thank you. That's a lot for me to think about and assimilate, but thank you so much. That was really wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Spencer. That talk was very nice. Nice is the wrong word, but very, very well done.
Gives me a lot to think about too. Gives me a lot to think about too.
Yeah, yeah. Rachel's hand up again? Yes, good. Rachel?
I wanted to echo what Jane said. The word tender, you said the flick of the ox's tail. You know, a moment of tenderness in the heart, to me, is sufficient enlightenment. Do you know what I mean? That even to say a flick, I think it's so easy to think, oh well, that person had a moment. My God, the world exploded. Just to have that tender, it's a quality. It's not, you know, it's like a tenor or a tone. It's not saying I love someone. It's something else. To even experience that, to me, is that oxtail. So I just agree. I really like that adjective.
Yeah, I know it's beyond words, right? And the only way to access it is through practice. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very true that when you see the ox's tail, um, it's a relief. But actually, and it's not a matter of, oh, you're going to have it, and then, you know, in some practices, they sponsor and promote having that experience as soon as possible in order to keep you going. In Soto Zen, we don't even talk about that experience actually. I mean, we do, but we don't. It's true. But on the other hand, some people have it and some people don't. But that isn't a matter of that's it. Because all it is you make it to Mars, you make it to the moon, but actually you're going to Mars, and you can go directly. You don't have to go to moon in order to get to Mars, because the moon's really close to us. You can go directly from Earth. My metaphor is getting weaker here,
Going way out to orbit, Peter.
but nevertheless.
So I think
And,
Peter, you're saying that some people don't have it, might be a diversion for some. Some people just sit straight on their path, and like Rachel never had that experience, right?
Yeah, it really is. It is not necessary. The real experience will come when it's ready to be there, and when you have practice enough. That will never be you. You will never say a person can or can't have that. A person will have that.
Right.
Okay. But it's different because it's at the end of the ox herd. You see the ox, and then you go beyond seeing the ox. But also, by the way, you all will have noticed that Spencer for the trial set up a trial balloon here, a small explosion, to my surprise, about Peter Schneider Roshi. That's never been said before in either Mars, the Moon, or Earth. And,
You and I had a talk about it, and you
no, we
said,
did. No, we talked about it, and what I said was to him, it's useful to get new people to come, and that's the usefulness of the title. The title has it sounds good, and it makes you feel good, but it's the same as first experience of that first touch of goodness also. You don't, so Jane and I may be called Roshi from here on in order to try to get some more members. But we have changed and we haven't changed. Mostly we haven't changed. That change, however, is not a change that don't worry about having or not having had, that change. I guess the new criteria will be anybody who reaches the age of 86 or over in our group can be called Roshi. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Let's hope that it comes earlier for some.
all right. Good. Something I just wanted to digress. You know, I mentioned like, oh, you sit, and this might be samadhi, and this. I'm talking about something most of the time just much subtler. Like you sit on the cushion, you hear the rain, you're home with the rain, you feel a warmth. It's not this grand opening, it's just everything. I know everything is okay. I don't have, it's not a grand realization because I'm sitting. And that's all I know in that moment, that everything's okay. Um, so all the rest, you know, a flash of lightning or a cone, it's not that. You know, it's the comfort of the zafu and the experience of zazen. That's the true comfort. I think, Peter, to your point, everything else may or may not be for anybody or in their practice, but for me, it's just the cushion.
No, it was nice to hear your practice, Spencer. That's for sure. Jane?
Spencer, don't condition what you said too much because I found it very, very moving, and I doubt that it would move me so much unless there was the ring of truth in it. And it certainly rang true for me, everything you said about it. So don't go back and crisscross everything else.
I won't walk it back that much, but I'm just saying
No,
that.
but what you did talk about, well, if other people study it and listen to it, it will encourage them greatly. And that's finally why you're talking to people, is to share what your experience is so that they can see that it's possible.
Well, I guess tomorrow I'll sit. So
Yeah, so your talk today was basically, today I sit, this is what I come to the conclusion of, and that's it. Tomorrow I'll sit. The next chapter.
right. Maybe it'll rain tomorrow. So
Not down here.
Whatever it is, everything is all right. And that's finally what you give to people from your experience, is telling them whatever their experience is, it's all right. And that's a pretty potent message. So don't go back and cross it off too much.
I'll keep some of the glamour.
No disclaimers, please.